Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. Well, at the time of this recording, GameMaker just released an update that bricked the project I was meant to be working on today. So while I wait for them to hopefully unbreak things, we'll be slightly diverting to a new project instead. So the first part of this project requires us to build a jigsaw puzzle-like experience. An init function was created that would record puzzle data, build a grid, and generate enough pieces for the puzzle, all referenced from a single sprite. Each piece is given a reference number, which not only helps determine its position within the actual puzzle, but also helps determine what part of the sprite to draw. Then a check function was created. This function would run through our grid, checking each cell along the way. If a puzzle piece occupies that cell, the cell number is compared to the piece's reference number. If the two match, things were good to go, and if not, the check returned negative and the gameplay continued on. The assumption being that if all pieces were in the right places, the return would be true and thus game over, player wins. Then in the step, code to handle puzzle pieces was added. On a left click, the code would check if the player is already holding a piece. If not, it grabs the nearest piece to the cursor and stores that ID as a variable. That variable is then referenced to have the piece follow the mouse and to place the piece down, which if on the board is snapped to the nearest grid cell. And the results were odd. Not only were the pieces being chosen extremely random, but some seemed to be invisible. In general, I thought using objects would make collision and position checking easier and more convenient. However, looking back on it now, things would have worked far better had I not used objects. Anyway, creating a surrogate cursor object helped move the process along. Now as for the invisible pieces, that was chalked up to bad math. I had the things backwards, and so a simple switch fixed the drawing of invisible sprites. And so with pieces now working properly, we needed an end case for solving the puzzle. For the time being, this would simply switch a game over variable from 0 to 1. Then in a spacebar check, the puzzle would be completed automatically. This was done using each piece's reference number and some good old math. Now the test for this was a failure. No matter what I'd write, and despite the fact that each puzzle piece was in the correct spaces, I just couldn't get the puzzle to recognize the pieces or their positions. And after spending at least 30 minutes trying different things, I was out of time. So bad news is we're ending today's session on a downer. The good news is since recording this, I know what's wrong. So next episode not only will complete the puzzle portion of this project, but we will also get to work on the second half, which is really gonna throw things for a loop. Also, holy crap, I accidentally made this puzzle 240 pieces, which is exactly what happens when I don't have time to prep. Anyway, with that brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary. So if you enjoyed today's entry, consider leaving a like. Be sure to also subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already, and let me know where you think this project is going next. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.